going? So today on BKRsport, I'm going to try a bit of a new video here. I really don't know kind of how this is going to go. I've never really done one of these before, but I thought if you guys like it, do obviously hit the thumbs up button and do subscribe if you're new around here. We do stream every single Bulls game as it is, but I just wanted to sit down today and kind of have a chat about the Chicago Bulls and if they are legitimately a team that could go forward and genuinely compete for the East this year, or even the NBA, because before this season started, I don't think anyone really had the thought process that this was going to be a genuine team. I think we all thought that, look, they were going to improve. Hopefully we maybe see them be 500. We haven't seen that since 2017, and, you know, hopefully we can kick off, make the playoffs, and, you know, that's that really, and then we just keep on improving. Obviously, they made some big moves in bringing in Demarta Rosen and Lonzo Ball, and also bringing in Alex Caruso. Picking up Sumu from the draft has been, honestly, one of the greatest draft picks for the Bulls in a very long time. He was a steal down there in number 38. And, you know, Derek Jones Jr. has come in and he's done a fine job as well. He has some nice slam dunks. Gee whiz, man. Gee whiz. Now, the biggest problem for me overall for the Bulls this year is obviously the teamwork. Now, the teamwork has been great, I guess, in parts, but the main thing that I focus on is that the reason why we lose games is because we still have people taking shots when they shouldn't be taking shots because they are playing like an individual player, because that's what they've been like in the NBA up until this point, right? So Nikola Vusavich, let's take him for an example. Unfortunately, he hadn't been able to get into the NBA this year with the Bulls and really find some form because he's used to playing with the Orlando Magic and being that guy. He is that guy who's meant to find that next step. He's meant to be the guy that takes him to the next level, whether it be scoring a basket from three, or whether it be getting a bit of a, you know, a hook shot going down, even though he's been kind of average from hook this year. But overall, you know, he was meant to be the guy to win the game for the Orlando Magic, right? And then he comes to the Bulls, and it doesn't really work out like that because there is also Zach Levine, there is Demarta Rosen, there is Lonzo Ball, who are all better shooters, and they're all guys that you'd rather get the ball to. Now, Lonzo has his problems, but the fact of the matter is that you'd be expecting other people to get the ball instead of Vooch. Now, yes, he has that three-point opportunity that we've been seeing a lot more recently, and that's because a lot of our other players are starting to trust the other guys on the team a lot more. But that's one player there in Vusavich. But now, you know, because he's starting to learn that it's not just all about him, and that this Chicago Bulls team has been pieced together from individuals, and that he can work out with these individuals if he understands we're not Orlando and we don't just simply focus on giving him the ball every single opportunity. He is absolutely a great player to get the ball to. However, until this point, I don't think he's really understood this realistically, and that's why he struggled. But then Charlotte Hornets, it clicked. You know, Charlotte Hornets, he was able to be that guy, 6 from 6 from 3. Oh my goodness me. You know, but it's not like he was the only one who had a good game there. There was other great games there from Zach Levine and DeMar DeRozan. But because Vooch realized that he's not the only guy on the team, he's able to then have a big game alongside everybody else. And it really ended up working out. Now he's having a good game against the Knicks. Now he's having a good game against the Nets. And hopefully this is just the run for Vooch. Next up, Zach Levine. He has literally been the only guy for the Bulls where if we're not going to win, and this is the biggest one here, Zach Levine. You know, if we're going to win, it has to come from Zach. You know, beforehand we had Laurie Markkinen who couldn't hit a three to save his life. He couldn't hit a barn door. He couldn't hit a damn barn door with that three-point shot majority of the time, right? So the point that I'm referring to here is because Zach Levine didn't have anybody he could trust. Right, and this is a big thing with Michael Jordan back in the day too, is that originally he would play hero ball because he didn't have anybody that he could trust. So he wouldn't pass the ball because he's the guy that's meant to be shooting the shot, getting the shot, and he doesn't trust that anybody else is going to make that shot. So it doesn't matter how hard the shot's going to be, just put it up in the air and hope for the best. Because you may as well, because nobody else is going to get it, right? But as we saw, Michael Jordan realized that he did have other players that could shoot the shot with him, and that's what made the team. Now Zach Levine is exactly like this in a lot of ways. You know, he puts up really dumb shots sometimes, straight up. He puts up some really stupid shots, hero ball kind of shots. And this is something that we've seen for so long, and that's why we lose those games in the clutch, because he doesn't know what to do in those final moments, because he's feeling like he's the only one who was meant to be in that situation. But now, because we do have Vooch and DeMar DeRozan, and to an extent Caruso, and Lonzo Ball, who can hit a three in the corner in some games and some games not, the point of the matter is that he doesn't need to be doing that hero ball anymore. He is still doing it. He is still learning. But I feel like he is starting to throw the ball around a bit more. Obviously, he had... Actually, let's have a look at this. So he had 6 assists against the Nets. I like that. You know, it's not something we would normally see from Zach Levine. Usually, we would see him get a couple of assists at best. But 6 assists means he's starting to throw the ball around a lot more. And the Bulls aren't really a great assisting team. Let's not lie. They're not really a great assisting team here. So to wrap up Zach Levine... I believe that he is on his way to understanding what Jordan understood back in the 80s and early 90s in regards to passing the ball that will actually benefit the team more, despite the fact that you may think you're the best player or you may be the best player on the team. But the thing is, he needs to have that trust. And I feel like with Demarta Rosen showing out this year points-wise, he now is starting to get that trust. And if Vooch can start hitting these shots that he's been hitting recently, he will get that trust. So I really believe the long-term form of Zach Levine. Now moving on, Demarta Rosen. This is a bit of a different one because when he was at the Spurs, he was kind of expected to be that guy, but also he's in a bit of a tough situation. You know, we all know what the Spurs have been like for the last couple of years, right? They're in a massive rebuilding mode. But going back to the Toronto Raptors, he was more of a team player in regards to having a tandem in Kyle Lowry and Demarta Rosen. But for DeMar, I think he's incredibly underrated coming into this year. I don't understand why they said he wouldn't work out the Bulls. Because, and this is all the GMs who think they know everything about everything, right? I'm just a guy from Australia who loves my Bulls, right? And I don't know anything compared to, you know, people who have been supporting the sport all their life, or the GMs that think, you know, or they run the league and whatnot. They could trounce me when it comes down to chatting about basketball and the in-depths and analytics and whatnot, right? But this is just my opinion. I never understood why they were saying that Demarta Rosen wouldn't work out. He was fantastic at the Raptors when he had guys around him. But then when he didn't have anyone around him at the Spurs, yeah, look, he was lackluster. You know, but then you go and add him into a team, and I understand you think, okay, well, DeMar, he's not going to work with Levine because they both want points. But talking on los dos, why can't you have both? You know, isn't that the point of basketball? Like, why do you have to have an individual player being the only guy who can score on a team? Like, surely you would want as many guys as you possibly can to be able to score the points. Yes, I get it, you're taking shots away, but Demarta Rosen is a quality player. He always has been a quality player. Going to the Spurs was never really going to work out for him because, like I said, they're a rebuilding team. The Bulls, with the moves they made in the offseason, were never going to be a rebuilding team. You know, we still had a thought process that we were still, you know, how we going? But we were never going to be a rebuilding team. That was us making a statement that we're now out of a rebuilding team and that we're legitimately going to try and compete. Whether it was going to be this year or next year, I actually think this has been an expedited process here. I really think that no one really should have believed we were going to be this good by this point. Now, it is early in the season. We're only a quarter way through. But overall, you know, the table doesn't lie. This table doesn't lie here. They're currently second. 16-8 right now. After 24 games. They're currently 16-8. I'd never seen the Bulls over 500 in the entire time I supported the Chicago Bulls. When I went to Chicago, they were always under 500. The whole time. You know, this was a statement. It was a statement. And Demarta Rosen is also a team player from back at his Raptors days. So everything is starting to come in. Caruso, he has always been the guy who does all the nitty-gritty stuff. No one understands. Unless you're a Bulls fan or a Lakers fan, I guarantee you that you don't understand how good Caruso actually is. Right? I never realized when he was at the Lakers how good he actually was defensively, and also the nitty-gritty stuff that he does, the hustle play, man. In Chicago, we're all about the hustle. Right? And he is the epitome of hustle. He is the epitome of putting his foot down, defending, and just, you know, sometimes he hit a couple of clutch threes in that game against, who was it against? The Miami Heat. You know, he usually misses nearly every three that he takes. But he was so clutch from three in that game. It was impressive. I loved it. I thought it was awesome. But he's not kind of there for that reason. And that's why it's great, because he doesn't need to take the shots. He doesn't need to get the points to realize how great he actually is. Because he's not there for that reason. He's a great addition to this team that isn't the points of what you get with Vooch, what you get with Levine, and what you get with Demarta Rosen. And then Lonzo Ball, he's another one here that has been thrown together as a guy from a team that was expected to be that guy and do things you probably shouldn't be doing so that you are going to be that guy, right? And that's why, bringing Lonzo in, I don't really understand why he takes as many shots as he does, because I truly believe that he is one of the better passers in the game. I truly believe that he doesn't need, obviously, take your threes when you've got an open three, but you don't need to push up shots. You don't need to throw up shots as much as he does sometimes. And then if it's not falling, okay, cool. You don't really need to take, because I honestly think he's one of the best passers in the game. But unfortunately, he's just too much in the two minds of, am I going to shoot it or am I going to pass it? Am I going to shoot it or am I going to pass it? So as he's going for a shot, he's also thinking, should I pass this? And that's why he misses it half the time. That's the kind of feeling I get. What do I know, right? But that's the kind of feeling that I get from watching the games. The point overall that I'm making here is that a group of individuals, and severe individuals, who have been the stars on their team at their respective points, whether it be for terrible teams in the Bulls pre this year, or the Magic for ages, or Demarta Rosen at the Spurs, or Lonzo Ball at the Pelicans. They've put together a team that know how to score, that do know how to pass. Our score first kind of thought process. But if they realise they can trust each other to get the shot, which is what they're starting to do, that's why they beat the Nets, that's why they're second on the table right now, they genuinely have a chance of taking out the East this year. I'm not even speaking about their defense that has been a lot better than people thought it would be. It's not been fantastic. There's been issues, massive issues, but we can speak about that another day. If you think that, what I'm saying here is worthwhile, and you think that, you enjoy this kind of content, then do let me know. Let me know in the comment section. Obviously, I'm relatively new to basketball compared to a lot of other people. I've been watching basketball all my life, but I didn't really obviously have my team until relatively recently in 2019 when I went to Chicago and fell in love with the city. But you guys know with my channel that when I watch a sport, I'm emotionally invested, right? So my life is literally sport. So I watch these boys every single day. I stream, I talk to you guys every single day. I gather your opinions, I gather my opinions. I've seen everything in the past to do with Chicago because I'm that obsessed with this city. And, I have major love for everything that encapsulates the city of Chicago, whether it be sport or just culture or everything, right? But in the same sense, I don't know if you guys enjoyed this. It could be just some rando Australian just talking nonsense and you're like, oh shit, man, what are you talking about? But overall, yes, we may be losing to, stupid teams like the Rockets and the Pacers by 32 points and whatnot. But if you go through, and this is only going to be quick because I don't want to stay here too much longer, but if you go through the games this season, ignore the first 3 games against the Pistons and Pelicans. Who cares, right? So we beat the Raptors. That was a nerve-wracking game. Now, just quickly, and this is I'm going to go on for 3 hours at this point, but just quickly, if we're up big, I expect us to choke it away and either win small or lose by about 5 to 10 points. If we're down big, I expect us to win, or at least bring it back to a close game. It's really strange. We can't put together... If we're down big going into that fourth quarter, we probably win. If we're up big going into that fourth quarter, we probably lose. It's the weirdest thing. But you go through these games here, right? So the Raptors are a good defensive team. They're a decent defensive team. Yes, I'm very well aware that their positioning right now is not great in 12th. But they are a decent defensive team and a decent team in general. They beat the Raptors, and they're on a 4-game winning streak, and they go and play the Knicks. Arguably, we should have won that game. Well, arguably, we shouldn't have even been in that game. But the fact of the matter is that Demarta Rosen and the Bulls still learning, still tinkering, and still understanding to kind of know who's going to take that final shot. I understand he misses the shot. It was a terrible shot. Should have got the ball to Levine. But overall, we lose the game to the Knicks. But then they come back and they beat the Jazz. They come back and they beat the Celtics. I'm not saying they come back and beat the Celtics. I mean, they come back and they beat the Celtics. Look, we struggled with the 76ers twice, back to back. Okay, cool. Everyone's starting to say, oh, the Bulls, they're shit. They're not good anymore. And they go and beat the Nets by 23 points. Go and beat the Mavericks by 10 points. Mavericks aren't great, but still. Point of the matter is, the Mavs with Doncic, Porzingis, come on. Then they go and lose to the Warriors. That was a bad loss. It was probably our biggest loss of the year. Worst loss of the year. Oh, Pacers probably. But in the same sense, that was a bad loss. And then we go back and we sweep LA. We beat the Clippers by 10 points. And then we beat the Lakers by 18 points. Yeah, look, we struggle against the Blazers. Yeah, look, we're up by 21 points. And we lose that game. That was horrific. And then we bounce back against the Nuggets. And then we bounce back against the Knicks. Play the Pacers. Look shocking. Play the Rockets. Arguably look shocking. Should have won that game, but didn't because we look shocking. Bounce back against the Magic. Obviously, yeah, we lose to the Heat. But then we go and smack the Hornets. We go and smack the Knicks again. And we go and smack the Nets. You know, people need to understand you're going to lose games. You will lose games in a season. That doesn't mean that you're now shithouse. It doesn't mean that you're now bad. All it means is that you have stuff that you need to work on for when you get to the playoffs. All this shit don't matter. None of this shit matters. Just get to the playoffs. All this shit is just telling you kind of what a team can do and their mistakes to kind of hound in on when you're playing them. Just understand, just because we lose a couple of games here and there doesn't necessarily mean that this team is now like, oh, now they're going to have that fall. Oh, now they're not going to work out. Oh, Demarta Rosen, he's not working with Levine. Get my face, he's the #1 point scorer in the 4th quarter in the league. All right, so overall, that's all it's going to do for today. I've been here for about 20 minutes, and I was actually expecting to do like a 10-minute video, but I just love basketball, man. I love basketball. I love the Bulls, and I'm so excited to see what's going on here. So if you guys want to see me do like a weekly wrap of the Bulls or a weekly wrap of the NBA or whatnot, I can't really do the NBA because there's too many teams. But if you guys would like to see me do more of these Chicago Bulls wraps, reviews, then do obviously hit that thumbs up button. Comment below, let me know, subscribe if you're new around here, and I'll see you on the next stream, which is going to be Bulls versus the Nuggets. If you don't know what we do here, guys, when there's a game on, we stream, I chat there, I sit there with you guys, I, you know, laugh, I cry, I scream, I get angry, and we just watch the Bulls as they play, you know, so we do this with all different sports and all different teams, so definitely get excited about that one, playing the Nuggets, we've got the Cavaliers, and we've got the Heat coming up too, so it's not terrible. We've gone through a bit of a tough run, and yet we've actually come out of it with flying colours, in my personal opinion, besides, you know, those stupid games, but, you know, we've still come out with relative flying colours, in my personal opinion, relative being the key word there. But there we go, guys. I appreciate you, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Catch you later. See ya.